Hey, Piper. I heard from Mom. You're finally gonna be getting out of our hair and moving out of the house? Hey, you there? When will you be gone?
This weekend.
Sweet. You know, that room you've been staying in this whole time was originally mine and my little sister's dressing room. Make sure you don't leave any mess when you leave.
Understood. Thank you for having me. I'm really grateful you let me stay.
It's good that you understand, I guess. The most surprising thing here is that there's still actually someone left in the world willing to take you in. Who are you gonna be living with this time?
Your Uncle Jeff.
My Uncle Jeff? What? Who's that?
Your dad's little brother?
My dad has a brother? That's news to me. I have an uncle? Who'd have thought it? Whatever. It's not like it makes any difference to me. I hope for your sake, my Uncle Jeff and his family don't treat you like the nuisance that you are, lol.
He lives on his own.
Gross. Are you serious? Lol. You're going to live with a single old man? Aren't you worried he'll try doing weird stuff to you? I understand why he's taking you in now. That's seriously gross, ew. Good luck, Piper. Sounds like you're gonna need it, haha.
Please don't speak about Uncle Jeff that way. He would never do anything like that.
Wow, looks like I touched a nerve. To tell you the truth, I don't care one bit what happens to you. Actually, I've been praying for you to hurry up and get out since the moment you moved in with us 2 years ago. I never did get why your parents dying in a car crash meant you had to live with us all of a sudden. Like, you're only my cousin, why was that our problem? It's been such a drag having you around. I bet I'm not the only one happy you're leaving. My mom and sister Valerie are probably over the moon too. We should have a party to celebrate. I can't tell you how relieved I am you're going. I've waited so long for this moment.
Is that so? In that case, I'm sorry to have been such an inconvenience. It really wasn't my intention. I'll get out as quickly as I can. I don't want to trouble you any further.
Yeah, good idea. The longest we've ever had a relative other than you stay with us was 6 months. But we were kind enough to have you here getting in our way and being all irritating for a whole 2 years. You better make damn sure you show some gratitude towards my mom and dad. Oh, and don't forget about me and Valerie.
Yes, of course. I'm really grateful to you all for letting me stay with you. Thank you for having me.
There's one thing that's really gonna suck about not having you around. It means I'm no longer gonna have a servant to do my homework or get rid of my toenail clippings. I hate to admit it, but that part and that part alone is a real shame. It doesn't make up for having to tolerate you the rest of the time, though. So make sure you stay at your new place for as long as possible, okay? Because we don't ever want to see your face around here again. Hey, I need you to do my homework for the winter break. I'm gonna mail it to you. Tell me the address. I'm busy preparing for my exams, but you must have lots of free time, right? Don't pretend you're actually doing anything worthwhile.
I won't help you anymore. Please, do it on your own. I'd appreciate it if you didn't contact me either. I have exams to prepare for just like you, and I have enough on my own plate without doing your homework for you.
What? You dare to refuse me despite the fact that we let you live at our house rent-free? We put a roof over your head for 2 whole years, and this is your attitude the moment you move out? Do you have no concept of gratitude? You owe us. Piper, you owe me. Did you forget how you had food on the table because my dad went out to work every day to put it there? How you had clothes because my parents were kind enough to buy you them? You're an awful person.
I'm grateful for all of those things. But I gave your mom and dad the inheritance I got from my parents when I moved in. All the costs of having me there, food, clothes, heating, it all came out of that. Your mom and dad didn't have to pay a cent of their own money.
Huh? So what? You gave them some money? Big deal. The only reason you were able to go to school was because my mom and dad were kind enough to become your legal guardians. Don't get carried away, you pathetic orphan. Hey, don't ignore me. I can see you read my messages. Oh yeah, that reminds me. How are things at your new home? Did my uncle start doing weird stuff to you yet? Have you checked your bedroom for hidden cameras, lol?
He didn't do anything to me. I told you he's not like that at all. He's treating me really kindly, actually. I'm enjoying my new life here.
I don't know. Could it really be true? You should be careful. My uncle sounds like bad news. Just like your dead parents were. You know, I heard your mom pushed my grandma down the stairs once. That's why everyone broke off contact with them before they died. I don't know the reason, but apparently no one wants anything to do with my uncle either. He got disowned too. I suppose it makes sense you get along. You're both awful people after all. Birds of a feather flock together.
No, Josie, you're wrong. The reason my parents fell out with everyone wasn't because of any problems they caused.
Why didn't a single one of our relatives show up at their funeral then? Face it, everyone hated them. Why else would no one have gone, lol?
I can't deny that it's possible all of our relatives hated them. But the only reason for that is because Uncle Jeff or my dad wouldn't lend them money whenever they came begging.
Huh? What are you talking about? Money? I've got no idea what you mean, sweetie. How about you start making some sense for a change?
I'm only going off what Uncle Jeff told me. But he said him and my dad had some major business successes when they were young, which led to them being pretty well off financially. Unfortunately, your grandparents and your dad, as well as several of your other relatives, were notoriously bad with money, and all of them were in significant amounts of debt. They pestered Uncle Jeff and my dad for money constantly. They'd get messages all the time, and people would show up at their houses every month. They did actually agree to lend some out on a few occasions early on, but since they never got anything back, they stopped, broke off contact with the beggars, and moved away. Actually, that's not entirely true. Apparently, the real reason they broke off contact in the end was because your dad's mom, your grandma, pushed my mom down the stairs while she was pregnant with me.
What? My grandma did what?
Apparently, my dad refused to lend her any money, so she showed up when he was out and tried stealing my mom's purse instead. My mom fought back and they got into a struggle at the top of the stairs, which is when your grandma pushed her. She went flying all the way to the bottom and got hurt pretty badly.
You're lying! My grandma would never do that. She was always so sweet and kind to us, she wouldn't hurt a fly.
I'm really pleased to hear that. But ask yourself this. Did she ever give you any Christmas presents or pocket money? Birthday presents, gifts, things like that? Anything at all?
Well, no, but...
It's probably true then, isn't it? Apparently, your grandma has a gambling addiction. And besides, do you really think she'd go around telling everyone what she did? She was probably terrified she'd lose her son and his family. You guys are all she has left now.
This is probably just some twisted, made-up fantasy of yours. And I bet Uncle Jeff is just bitter over being kicked out of the family, and this is his way of getting revenge. Oh yeah, and one more thing. My dad is not in debt. Like, what the hell? That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Don't make up lies about my parents just because you don't have any. I'll have you know, he said things are going great at his work, actually.
If I have no parents, you have no house.
Huh? No house? I hate to tell you this, but we definitely do have a house.
And I hate to tell you this, but it's looking like your dad's company are gonna go bankrupt real soon.
What? You're getting desperate now, Piper. It's actually sad watching you self-destruct like this. What's gotten into you? Where did these deluded fantasies come from? It's actually scary. Maybe you should see a shrink, lol?
No, apparently it's true. Uncle Jeff and my dad might have had the brains it took to start up and run successful companies and earn a comfortable living for themselves. Unfortunately for you, we can't say the same about your dad.
Stop lying! It's true he went through a couple of rough patches in the past, but that's old news. He said things are going really well lately. All I have to do is say the word and he buys me whatever I want. Unlike you, we have lots of money. You're probably just jealous.
Since when? When did your dad say things with his company were going well? That was back when I was living with you, right? I don't think he'll be buying you anything else from now on.
What does that mean?
Do you have any idea how much money I gave your parents? Go on, have a guess.
Huh? Why are you asking me that all of a sudden? And why the hell would I know?
$150,000.
What? $150,000? What?
It was the inheritance my mom and dad left me. All of it. They knew there would be no relatives left for me to rely on with them gone. So they left everything they had to me so I'd never struggle financially. But when I moved in with you guys, your mom and dad told me it was for the best if they managed my money. And they stole my bank card. The reason your dad seemed so prosperous, the reason you were so well off, the reason you were able to snap your fingers and have him buy you whatever you wanted at the drop of a hat, was because you were all living off of my money. I asked if I could have my bank card back when I moved out, and they readily admitted there was nothing left on it. That's what a wonderful guy your dad is. Oh yeah, and the reason his company is about to go under is because of personal bankruptcy, apparently. Looks like things are about to get super difficult for you guys. Things aren't so easy when you don't have my money to rely on, huh? You're most likely not even gonna have a house to live in soon. Which means it's time to get the mops and buckets out and get ready to go. Make sure you don't leave any mess when you leave, okay? Huh? You're leaving me on red now? I guess you probably don't have time to reply to my messages. What with being about to lose everything you hold dear and have your life turned completely upside down. Good luck!
Hey, Piper, are you okay? Uncle Jeff isn't doing anything weird to you, is he? How are you doing? I've been really worried about you.
Where the hell did this come from? Actually, I think I'm the one who should be worried. Getting messages like this from you of all people? Are you feeling okay?
Of course I am. But, I was thinking, isn't it, like, super boring living with just the two of you? Why don't we all live together again? You can bring Uncle Jeff along, too. I won't be mean to you at all this time. I'll be so super kind and we'll get along amazingly.
Oh, you're actually aware of how horrible you were to me then? I'm surprised. I have no intention of ever living with you again.
Come on, Piper, me and you are cousins. Family. Let's get along like cousins should.
Nope. Did you completely forget about how you guys treated me this whole time? You made me feel like less than the dirt on your shoes. You constantly made me feel like I was in the way, like I wasn't welcome. Not to mention your parents taking advantage of the fact I was underage to steal my entire inheritance. You constantly being forced to eat your leftovers. I don't think I had even a single fresh meal the whole 2 years I stayed with you. You and your sister forced me to clean your rooms, to do your homework. You basically made me your servant. Then you threatened to tell your parents I was bullying you if I didn't comply. At the end of it all, I suddenly got kicked out on the streets. And of course I have nowhere to go because my parents are dead. I can't prove it, but I'm guessing it was because they ran out of my money. You have no idea how that felt or what you put me through, do you? Every day was a struggle for me without any money to get by on. Do you know what it's like to wake up and not even knowing whether you're going to be able to eat that day? Or whether you're even going to be alive next week? It was terrifying.
Come on, Piper, how was I supposed to know you gave my parents that much money? I never would have acted like I did if I knew. Please understand.
In that case, you should be mad at your dad for not telling you anything.
Listen, I'm sorry. Please, will you forgive me? I have a small favor to ask too. Can I come and live with you, please? You're in that apartment block near the station, right? Please, could you ask Uncle Jeff for me? I am his niece after all. He'll take me in, won't he? Right? Please, Piper, tell me he'll take me in.
Allow me to politely refuse your request. Uncle Jeff said I'm forbidden from having anything to do with any of our relatives. He says it's a rule of me living here. So, sorry, no can do. I have nothing further to say to you, and no further interest in continuing this conversation. We done?
Ugh, don't be so mean. He only made that rule because of what went down between him and our other relatives. Why should me and you fall out over adult problems? I might not be able to go to the high school I want to go to next year at this rate. I wanted to go to the private girls' school with the cute uniform. I studied so hard for my exams, despite that I hate studying more than anything in the world. But Dad just told me I have to give up because he can't afford the tuition fees anymore.
How can that be? Weren't private schools made free of charge lately?
Yeah, but the family is still responsible for covering a share of the expenses. Ugh, you know nothing!
Yeah, you're probably right. That's probably why I was tricked by your parents and had my entire inheritance stolen.
Enough about that already. Sheesh. Look, please, will you just speak to Uncle Jeff for me? He's rich, right? Plus, I'm cuter and more mature than you. I'm a ray of sunshine. His life would be so much better with me around. He won't be able to resist once he sees my picture. He'll be practically begging me to live with him. Yeah, that's it. I'm gonna send you a picture now. Make sure you show it to Uncle Jeff, okay? Tell him I'll do anything.
I see. Okay, I showed him the picture.
So? He said I'm cute, right?
Well, not exactly. He said, you reap what you sow. Then he said if you really meant it when you said you'd do anything, never contact us again.
What? He said that? I understand why all our relatives hate you both now. It takes a special kind of monster not to help out family in their hour of need. That's why your parents are dead. I bet it was their punishment for being so horrible to people. You and my uncle are probably gonna die slow, painful deaths too.
I don't want to be seen to be harping on about my misfortune. And besides, I hate complaining anyway, so I kept this quiet, but I've been struggling ever since my parents died. Want to know how many of our relatives were willing to help me out in my hour of need? 0. Your parents suddenly changed their tune and approached me like they were my best friends in the whole world when they found out I had the inheritance money. But the only relative who helped me because he actually cared about me was Uncle Jeff. The rest of them were just after my money. Your parents included. You too. You bullied, picked on, and harassed me at every opportunity, didn't you? You treated me like dirt the whole 2 years I was there. Just like your parents, didn't you? What's the matter, Josie? Cat got your tongue? Well, I guess there isn't really anything you can say since everything I'm saying is 100% certified truth. The truth hurts, doesn't it? This must be what Uncle Jeff meant when he said you reap what you sow. You're probably gonna die a slow, painful death. Not long after, Josie's parents divorced due to her dad's bankruptcy and the subsequent collapse of his company. They'd barely been divorced 5 minutes when her mom moved in with a new man. Last I heard, Josie and her sister Valerie had been taken into the care of a relative on their mom's side. She probably never would have imagined in a million years that one day she'd be the one being passed around like some unwanted orphan. I recently found out that back when Uncle Jeff cut ties with his parents, he went overseas to start up a business, which was a major success and earned him a ton of money. Apparently, the reason he came back was to enter semi-retirement and live a comfortable life off his profits. I'm so grateful he came to look for me when he heard news of my parents' death after coming back. My mom wasn't in contact with any of her relatives, so I really didn't have a soul in the world to rely on. And truthfully, he probably saved me from being put into a foster home. Apparently my mom and dad, being deeply mistrustful of our relatives and their insatiable lust for money, had asked Uncle Jeff to take care of me in the event that anything happened to them. Here's the shocker. He'd been looking after a chunk of the inheritance that I had no idea existed. It turns out that the money Josie's parents stole from me was only a tiny fraction of everything they left to me. And Uncle Jeff, being aware of my situation, very kindly saw to it that all of the necessary procedures were dealt with and the money was safely kept away until I was old enough to have it myself. Of course, he also took me into his care. He was absolutely livid when he found out what they did with my money. "How dare they steal money from a child?" he yelled. I was in the first year of middle school when my parents passed away. This whole thing taught me that you should always look into and understand things for yourself rather than relying on the assumption that others are good-natured and have your best interests at heart. Now I'm learning about organizations that help children in need, as well as studying money and finance while staying with Uncle Jeff. It's my goal to one day work for an organization that helps such children. Children who are struggling and need a helping hand, just like I did back then. I made a vow to never let anyone deceive me ever again, and to live my life with strength and wisdom from now on. This whole thing taught me that the world is full of bad people who will take advantage of you if given the opportunity. By the way, me and Uncle Jeff are planning on moving when I graduate high school. When he came back from his business trip overseas, the greedy relatives somehow got wind of it and immediately started showing up at his apartment again. We want to move somewhere they can never find us again as soon as we can. I'm sick and tired of money-grubbing relatives. The sooner I never have to see them again, the better.